it was there I seen this pretty gal a-swimming in the tide. Hurrah, me and a gal who'd let me go. Oh, do let me
Hello everyone, my name is Don, the movie reviewer, and today we're going to be talking about The Lighthouse starring Willem Dafoe and Robert Pattinson.
For 4 weeks.
No, sir, thank you.
Bad luck to leave a toast unfinished, lad.
Well, meaning no disrespect.
Man what don't drink best have his reasons.
Come on, you boys, do what you here? How we got to the woods last year? Didn't say we got time. We were going to the big door.
And the souls of dead sailors to pick and claw and feed upon, only to be lapped up and swallowed by the infinite waters of the dread emperor himself. Forgotten to any man, to any time, forgotten to any god or devil, forgotten even to the sea, for any stuff or part of Winslow. Even any scantling of your soul is Winslow no more, but is now itself the sea.
The Lighthouse starring Willem Dafoe and Robert Pattinson is a very weird movie. It kind of reminds me of The Shining with Jack Nicholson, because it's all about cabin fever. Apparently, this is a story that is kind of true, I guess, because you have these two guys who do a job at this lighthouse, and I guess, isolation, just the two of you can go crazy, and then there's a storm that comes, so the boat isn't going to come and pick them up. So Willem Dafoe's character, he's this guy who's a veteran, and he's a bit off his rocker. And Robert Pattinson's character is this more reserved kind of guy. He's very shy. He doesn't want to let himself out. But then Willem Dafoe, his character, since he's kind of like crazy, he starts drinking and he tempts Robert Pattinson to drink. And so as the movie progresses, they start drinking more and more. And Willem Dafoe tempts Robert Pattinson's character to drink. And then once Robert Pattinson accepts the drinking, he just goes completely insane. And there are these weird moments in this movie, like there's this sequence where there's this mermaid in the ocean, and the soundtrack is cool. The sound effects, the sound of this is amazing. And listening to that, I was like, okay, cool. And then visually, it's appealing, even though it's in black and white. Visually, the directing in here is pretty masterful. And the acting really shoots this over the top. But then visually, it's very appealing. But we see the mermaid, and I'm thinking, what does this mermaid have to do with anything? And then, the story progresses. Robert Pattinson goes deeper into his crazy, mind. And once that happens, then, there is these weird scenes where he's raping the mermaid and he's just doing all these weird things. And then Robert Pattinson's character goes off the deep end. Like I said, it reminded me of Stanley Kubrick's The Shining with Jack Nicholson. But I would say this is better, because there is this one interesting element in here where Robert Pattinson's character, at the beginning of him going crazy, he sees this bird he's encountering. And at first I was like, okay, is this bird a message? Is this bird trying to tell him something? And then later on, Robert Pattinson just murders the bird in this very vicious manner. It was very gruesome, and that's what kind of got me too. There's a lot of gruesome stuff going on here. Later on in the movie, there's a scene where once Robert Pattinson and William Dafoe go completely crazy, there's a scene where William Dafoe's being buried in the ground, and it looks real, man. Like William Dafoe, man. If he does not get nominated for Best Actor, Best Supporting Actor, dude, that is some bullshit. William Dafoe, mwah, man. Like, William Dafoe delivered in this movie. I thought his performance was phenomenal. And when he was being buried in the ground, like, he's chewing on the dirt and everything in the mud, and then, like, the violence in here is realistic, where we see William Dafoe come up to Robert Pattinson at the end with an axe, and then he gets stabbed, and then there's a gush on his arm, and then there's like this brutal moment where you don't really see it, but then you see the blood splat where Robert Pattinson's character defends himself against William Dafoe, and then he uses the axe against him, and then whoosh, and you see this big gush of blood, but you don't see the head get chopped, but it's gruesome. So there's some gruesome moments in here, like with the bird, William Dafoe getting killed, him being buried in the dirt. The performances, I feel, are what elevate this movie more than anything. Like, I feel if we didn't have these two actors in this movie wouldn't be as good as it is. Because it's got some interesting elements in it, but to me it just feels kind of boring. Like, I feel like this would be better if it was a stage play. If it was a stage play, I think it would sell. It just seems like it's set up in a way to where it would play better on a stage. In a movie, it's just kind of boring. That's just the way my mind works. It's nothing against the movie, but I feel like the performances really hammer this thing home. But the cinematography is great when you see shots of the lighthouse. The sound effects, soundtrack in here is amazing. It sounds like it's music, but then I guess it is a part of the environment. When you hear, like, at the beginning, you hear the boat, I think it is. I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, there's a lot of great things in this movie, like the performances, the cinematography, the sound effects, the music, the tension that builds, the character development, where William Dafoe is this older guy, and he's like, the light is mine, and then his performance just drives it home. Robert Pattinson does a good job, and then seeing his psychosis of him just going crazy, seeing that bird, how they trained it, how it interacts with Robert Pattinson is great, but when he kills it, it's gruesome, but then I'm like, did this mean something? Was the bird trying to warn him about something? Why does this bird mess with him so much? But it was interesting. I liked it. Then the mermaid at the beginning, hearing the sound affecting the music with her in the water was cool. I was like, okay, is this part of his psychosis? Is this part of his dreams? Then at the end, it's revealed that, yeah, he's just going insane, and he's just doing crazy stuff, and I'm just like, it's cool, but it's kind of boring. The performances really, really sell it, drive it home for me, and the music is good, but it's just kind of like, this would be better as a stage play, in my opinion. Like I said, I enjoyed the performances from Robert Pattinson and William Dafoe. If William Dafoe does not get nominated for Best Actor, Best Supporting Actor, that will make me very upset, because him just lying in the dirt and eating mud was just, yeah, man, this guy really went through it. And I feel like Robert Pattinson and William Dafoe acted well off of each other. William Dafoe delivered a powerhouse performance here. And the actors really sell this. Otherwise, to me, there's a lot of interesting visual elements. There's a lot of sound effects that sound great. The score sounds really good. The visual style of this is intriguing. But by the end, I'm just pretty bored. I think that this would be better as a stage play. And William Dafoe better get nominated. That's all I have to say. So as always, thank you for watching, and I will talk to you next time.